to order. Mr. Twitty, would you please call the roll?
Mr. Laflamme,
Here.
Benfield,
Here.
Mr. McPartlin,
Here.
Mr. DiRapino,
Here.
Mr. Oster,
Here.
Chairman Walsh.
Here. Okay, we have the approval of the minutes from the July 8th meeting that were included in your packet. Do I have a motion to approve the minutes?
So moved.
Moved by Mr. Oster and seconded by Mr. McPartlin. Any changes or comments on the minutes at all? I have none.
I do, just line 141. I just wanted to clarify my statement when I had showed the photos. It was of the Ace Hardware on the Hoosick Street in Brunswick, not in Troy.
So we would just change the word Troy to Brunswick, and that would be fair. Okay.
Okay. Anybody else have anything? No? All right, seeing no other changes, then I would just make a friendly amendment since that's pretty straightforward. All those in favor of approval of the minutes signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? None opposed. So the minutes from the July 8th meeting are approved. We have no public hearings tonight, but we do have privilege of the floor. Anyone wishing to be heard regarding any planning and zoning matters, please come to the microphone, state your name and address for the record. So privilege of the floor is open. Anybody? No? Okay. So we'll close privilege of the floor. We have no unfinished business. We'll move right to new business in our resolutions. First up being Resolution 2019-22, a resolution for site plan approval of an interactive teller machine and canopy at 1776 Union Street. Mr. Twitty?
One of the purposes of the meeting was to take action on an application for site plan approval. Whereas Matthew DeMars of First New York Federal Credit Union has made an application to the planning board for site plan approval of the installation of an outdoor interactive teller machine with a canopy at 1776 Union Street, as shown in plans entitled Site Plan ITM Edition, First New York Federal Credit Union by ABD Engineers LLP, dated June 28, 2019. And whereas the zoning classification of the property is CN, Neighborhood Commercial Zoning District, and whereas Section 220-13, Schedule ID, Column 6 states that banks shall have one parking space per 200 square feet of gross floor area, plus 4 stacking spaces per each drive-in window. And whereas the gross floor area of the building is 9,600 square feet, and whereas the applicant has proposed 45 parking spaces for the site, and therefore a waiver from the planning board for 5 parking spaces is required, and whereas Section 220-48.6C of the Town Code allows the planning board and zoning commission to waive one or more of the requirements of the Town Center Overlay District, Neighborhood Commercial, and Highway Commercial Standards, and whereas the planning board referred this application to the Town Superintendent of Water, Sewer, and Engineering, the Fire District Chief, and the Chief of Police, and there were no objections to the proposal. And whereas this board has carefully reviewed the proposal, and by this resolution does set forth its decision you're on, now therefore be it hereby resolved that the Planning Board and Zoning Commission has determined that the proposed waiver for 5 parking spaces would have a minimum negative effect on aesthetics and is compatible with the existing neighborhood character, and be it further resolved that the Planning Board and Zoning Commission finds that the site plan for the installation of an outdoor interactive teller machine with a canopy meets the requirements of the zoning code and previous site plan approvals, and therefore hereby approves the proposal with the following conditions. 1, prior to the issuance of a building permit, the final site plan parking summary shall be updated to reflect 9,600 square feet of building space in the requested waiver. 2, prior to the issuance of a building permit, a lighting plan shall be submitted for approval by the planning department to ensure conformance with Article 8B of the zoning code.
Okay, thank you. Before we move on, I'd just like to, per Mr. Briggs' comment, just like the record to reflect that Mr. Khan came in after approval of the minutes. We don't need to take a revote. We'll just say 6 and 1 absentee. Is that how we say that, or?
For the planning board, we just say unanimous on the minutes. We don't normally tally the vote. Is there your
I'm okay with the minutes.
As long as the parents is not recognized for the resolution.
Yeah, there's only one modification, changing Troy to Brunswick for the visual on the Ace hardware store. Okay. All right, thank you. Sorry about that.
I apologize.
No problem. Okay, so on this resolution, I have a motion to approve the interactive teller machine at 1776. Motion by Mr. Khan and seconded by Mr. Laflamme. Now we have the applicant. Could you please come on up for a minute? So for discussion, we were just working over the numbers on the waiver required and reworked the numbers at the beginning of the meeting here. And it's actually only a 3 spot waiver. So it's based on 9,600 square feet, 48 parking spots, 45 available. So we're going to make a modification. I'm going to request to amend the resolution at 2 locations in the first page and in the first whereas, change 5 parking spaces to 3 for the waiver. So I'm going to make a motion to do that. Do I have a second on that? Seconded by Mr. Khan. Let's do a show of hands. All those in favor of modifying the resolution based by the correct numbers, just show of hands. Mr. Laflamme, so that's unanimous. So we have an amended resolution now, okay? Any questions or comments for the applicant? Pretty straightforward. Do you have anything for us at all, or any
Have you
questions?
guys started working on the lighting plan? I know, I thought you were gonna try and have it for this meeting, but we didn't really.
We did. We have, the applicant is currently working with the architect on finalizing the plan. So until we have the final,
For building permit.
right.
So for building permit, we're just gonna make sure that it meets our lighting guidelines, which, I mean, you guys can reach out. I think just from the top of my head, it's like 0.1 foot candles at the lot line.
That's
So
right.
you're just
Yep.
gonna have to show that.
Anything else? If not, we'll take the vote on the resolution as amended.
Mr. Laflamme?
Aye.
Ms. Shenfield?
Aye.
Mr. Khan?
Aye.
Mr. McPartlin?
Aye.
Mr. DeRapino?
Aye.
Mr. Oster?
Aye.
Chairman Walsh?
Aye, the resolution's approved. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
If you have any questions, give Laura a call and she'll help you out there, okay? All right, let's see. The next resolution is Resolution 2019-23, a resolution for recognition of former town attorney and zoning board chairman, Mr. Robert E. Hess. Mr. Jeff, please.
One of the purposes of the meeting was to take action on a resolution of recognition for former town attorney and zoning board chairman Robert E. Hess. Whereas Robert Hess, in his capacity as town attorney, served for 5 years and as an advisor to the Planning Board and Zoning Commission, and whereas Mr. Hess, prior to his appointment as town attorney, served for 5 years as a member of the Zoning Board of Appeals, including 1 year as chairman, and whereas Mr. Hess was instrumental in guiding the Planning Board and Zoning Commission, the Town Building Department, and the Town Zoning Board of Appeals, and the Town Planning Department, the Town Zoning Board of Appeals, and the Town Building Department through the sometimes difficult and challenging legal requirements of developments within Niskuna. And whereas Mr. Hess was dedicated to interpreting and improving the town's code so that it would better serve the residents of Niskuna. And whereas Mr. Hess went above and beyond the call of duty to ensure every problem he was tasked with had a reasonable and fair resolution. And whereas Mr. Hess consistently stepped up to take on work that was outside his original job description in the interest of creating a better local government for the town of Niskuna. Now therefore be it resolved that the Planning Board and Zoning Commission of the town of Niskuna offers its personal and official thanks and appreciation to Robert E. Hess, and it does so publicly to commend him for his excellent service.
Okay, I'd like to move the resolution for adoption. I have a second,
Aye, second.
and I'm sure everybody would like to second it, but we'll go with Mr. Laflamme. Discussion. I guess I'll kick it off. Just thank you, for your service. It's always good to have you here, and I appreciate your input. Wasn't shy to ask you, and you always gave me a solid opinion. And I have always appreciated your guidance over the years, and I respect the fact that you're on the ZBA. I did spend a year on the ZBA also, and that can be challenging at times. So I appreciate your service to the town, Mr. Hess.
And I just want to add, during the time that he was counsel, we dealt with a number of very complicated issues, whether it was like Rivers Ledge or the buildings along Union Street or the subdivision that they wanted to create along CVS or a whole bunch of other ones, very controversial. We always had a million questions about what does the code mean in this circumstance? And Rob always had a good answer for it. So we really kind of that on the spot answer when we were dealing with a lot of difficult situations is invaluable. So we really thank you, debt of gratitude for all the service you provided.
Bob, I was always amazed by both your legal acumen and also your skill relative to planning and zoning. And I know I personally felt confident whenever you were giving an opinion one way or the other, whether we agreed or disagreed. I always felt confident that you came from a position of studying it and being correct. So you'll be missed, and thank you very much for all the great service that you provided to the board and the town.
Okay.
Mr. Hess, I appreciated you when I met you a couple years ago, just as a resident, and your approachability and encouragement to get involved. So, I definitely appreciate that, and then appreciate, all of your legal opinions and your sound legal advice that you've been able to offer us. So, thank you.
Okay.
I will ask Rob, you guys, so I'm on the planning board side, but he was also incredibly helpful on the zoning board, the planning and the building department. Not only did he handle incredibly complicated and always difficult projects, because none of the easy ones are left in the town of Niskuna, but he was also the one that took all of our cases for the building department. And those are never easy either. So he had a really tough job and he did a great job. And he was always there for us, every single person in my department, and especially me. So I couldn't say like thank you with more true appreciation.
All right.
It was an honor working with all of you. I think the work that you do here is very important and totally underappreciated. So keep up the good work.
All right, thank you. Please call the roll.
Mr. Laflamme?
Aye.
Ms. Shenfield?
Aye.
Mr. Khan?
Aye.
Mr. McPartlin?
Aye.
Mr. Derpino?
Aye.
Mr. Oster?
Aye.
Chairman Walsh?
Aye, resolution is approved, unanimously approved, and thank you, Mr. Hess, we appreciate it.
And come back for cake.
Okay, we have another resolution, Resolution 2019-24, resolution for recognition of Assistant Planner, Mr. Jeffrey Twitty. Laura?
One of the purposes of this meeting was to take action on a resolution of recognition for Assistant Planner Jeffrey Twitty. Whereas Jeffrey Twitty, in his capacity as Assistant Planner, was an invaluable asset to the Planning Department, Building Department, and Planning Board and Zoning Commission of the Town of Niskayuna. And whereas Mr. Twitty, prior to his appointment as Assistant Town Planner, received a bachelor's degree from Binghamton University in Planning. And whereas during his time in the Planning and Building Department, Mr. Twitty assisted in reviewing projects, offered expert guidance to the public on plans and questions, calmed down upset residents with understanding and kindness, offered unique perspectives on community-wide plans, and truly gave 100% back to the community in which he was raised. And whereas Mr. Twitty has been a pleasure to work with and is an invaluable asset to the Planning Board and Zoning Commission, now therefore be it resolved, I'm actually missing the back, can I grab this from you? That the Planning Board and Zoning Commission of the Town of Niskayuna offers its personal and official thanks and appreciation to Jeffrey Twitty, and it does so publicly commend him for his outstanding service. And be it further resolved that the Planning Board and Zoning Commission does publicly congratulate him for his admission into law school and wish him the best of luck in his pursuit of continuing excellence.
Thank you, Laura. Motion on the resolution? Moved by Mr. Khan for adoption, and seconded by Mr. Oster. Beat you to that one, so we'll go with Mr. Oster. Thank you. And discussion, I guess I'll kick it off. Thanks, Jeff. You're a pleasure to work with. We're going to miss you, but you're off to bigger and better things, and hopefully we'll see you back in your hometown when you're done, and you continue, your support of the town, and get you back here sooner or later. So, and thanks for everything you've done for me. I appreciate it.
Jeff was always available. We'd be also oftentimes have a question for Laura about something, and Jeff would be the one who would be there to answer the question. So, always being available is an incredibly important thing. So, thank you.
And very calm and very dependable and very good at calming the public.
Yeah, that's a big one there, I tell you.
That is not an easy job.
No, it's
Standing
not.
behind that desk sometimes.
Yeah.
And just through the couple years that I've been here on the board, the interaction that you've had with residents, explaining the process to them, guiding them through, it's tough for a lot of them. It's the first time they sometimes ever do it. And you did an excellent job. So good luck to you.
Jeff, I'm not sure if I'm reflecting, your family here, but we're just looking at this. You're going to go away for a while. You'll come back.
Come back.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's-
A lot more capable and a lot more, impactful to the community. So best of luck at law school.
Great. Okay. Laura, would you please call the roll?
Mr. Laflamme,
Aye.
J.C. Shenfield,
Aye.
Genghis Khan,
Aye.
Patrick McPartlin,
Aye. David
DiArpino,
Aye.
and Chairman Walsh.
Please, Mr. Oster.
Oh, sorry. You see how I'm going to fall apart without, do you see this?
Aye.
Well played.
Mr. Oster and Chairman Walsh.
Aye, and again, thank you. It's unanimously approved, and thank you, Jeffrey. We appreciate it, and good luck.
And you can see what's going to happen.
Yeah, you,
Reading from now on.
it's not going to be good.
Watch the next meeting on video. All right. All right, thank you. Okay, that's it for new resolutions, discussion items. I guess we have none. Discussion, we're going to go right to reports. Maybe that'll lead to some discussion. First up being 1448 Balltown Road, which is what we just, 1448 is Ace Hardware, right?
Yeah. I
We
just-
didn't have a statement on it, but. what's
Well,
going on?
I was just going to reflect. I think you guys had originally called for a public hearing, at a certain time frame. Then it's going to be, I think, next August 8th, right?
12th, August 12th. I
12th,
believe.
yeah. So it's not this meeting, obviously.
Right.
It's on the 12th.
Yeah, we were just trying to, we thought the applicant was a time restraint, so we were trying to, be
Yeah.
proactive to help them out, but they're good with the 12th. That means they're still going forward?
Yep.
Okay.
So the public hearing that you called for, we just push it to the 12th. We'll just advertise it like normal, and then you'll see it on the next agenda.
Fantastic.
And they were able to accommodate the recommendations we made about signage and.
I think that's the reason that they asked to push it to the 12th, because they're working very hard on access to Balltown Road.
Okay.
Yep.
I think that's why.
And I think that was the only-
Well, it was, the main one was the access to Balltown Road.
Mhm.
And then the second one was, just seeing a depiction of
Yeah,
some
we
of
have to
those
see kind of
signs.
rendering of the
Yeah.
signage, how that all works
Yep,
together.
they're putting together, I believe, a colored elevation that you will ask for last meeting, so that was requested of them, and hopefully they'll have that by the 12th.
Great. Anything else on that?
Nope, just wanted to make sure you knew the timeline on that.
Okay, and 859 Pierce Road.
And that's on just to update you guys. They went to the zoning board. It was a long discussion, but that's to be expected. And they did receive their variance request. So they will be probably going out to surveyors. We can talk about their next steps, but you'll likely see them again. They did receive their zoning variance, and so they'll come back to you with a full survey on that configuration.
Great. Good. Nothing else on that for tonight? An early night for you too, so. Okay. All right. I guess we'll move. Anybody, anything under reports? Any questions at all for Laura while we're at it? Anybody have anything else? I have nothing else.
About the Holocaust Memorial.
They have been working on plans. One of the things that the town board asked them to do was thoroughly revisit whether or not they can make a road from the church to the site. And so they worked on that. They're going to be presenting, what they found. They are, I think, working on finalizing their SWIP and a couple other things, but we would expect to see an update from them pretty shortly.
Would that road be instead of the road that, or across Moultrie Road, or would that be in addition to?
I think that, I actually remember us discussing that road and it not being a feasible option, but the town board really didn't have a chance to discuss that with them. So they just wanted us to look at it one more time.
Right. There was-
Because if there's a way to do that, that would actually make the traffic flow much easier, but I
Yeah.
thought I recall there being a logistical.
We were told it wasn't something.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think there's still like.
Well,
quite
I
a
think
few
there was an email
logistical
today. I
problems.
don't know if you had a chance, maybe, to check if there's some kind of email traffic on that today that I was carbon copied on.
Yeah, they, basically the church, the mausoleum is in the way of where the road would go. And,
Yeah, that's what I thought. There would be
yeah.
like so many other
So they have something in
barriers to
writing
doing
from-
it, but
Yeah.
it's just
From the cemetery today.
But we needed to look at it, so they were looking at it for us. It still doesn't look feasible, but they're gonna bring back the research that they did on that. Because they
Okay.
have been great to work with and do look at everything that we asked them to look at. And then they have some updates, and so they'll probably come back for updates, and then they need to work through some more engineering with the SWIP and stuff like that. But they do want to get before you guys with an update. They just wanted to explore some of the stuff that had come up at the town board.
Okay.
Good
Yeah.
question, Leslie.
Anything else for Laura?
Does anyone know how to, farmer's market worked out on Saturday? I guess it's a general.
Yeah, I went
All
down,
counts, it
I
was
went down a
great.
little bit later. I thought there was a positive thing, our concerns with the, crossing, having some kind of aids there, the police were there, and it was pretty busy when I was there. And there was people cutting across the road, not using the crosswalk, and cars in and out, so it got backed up. So, but so it went okay because I believe of the help that was there.
Yeah,
I think-
I thought so. I went on the earlier end, and there was 2 police officers there on each side as crossing guards, but it seemed to be moving along.
Yeah.
So I think it was good. And I think the co-op did a nice job of, they had some things set up outside to then encourage people to go inside for other things as well. So I think that was a good use of the
Yep.
space.
So it seemed to go well, I guess would be my take.
Yeah, that was the feedback I got. People were pretty happy with it.
All right. So we'll move to commission business. Mr. Ross, do you have anything for us?
I'm not going to be here at the August 12th meeting.
Anything else?
No.
Okay. Mr. David, anything else?
No.
Ms. Partland? Nope. Ms. Khan?
Nope.
Ms. Shenfield?
Nothing.
And Mr. Laflamme? Nope. And I have nothing further. So we'll have a motion to adjourn. Moved by Mr. Khan, and seconded by Chairman Walsh. All those in favor of adjournment? Aye.
Aye.
Okay, we are adjourned, and thank you, everybody.
Interested, we could take
Cool.
And,
I'm a second.
in the back.
I've been here. I guess as long as Robert.